We're into the Final Four of the 2017 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship. 7 are still in the chase for the title. 500 miles from the tricky triangle. Here we go from Pocono. It's green.
And they're 5 wide already, Townsend. Look at this.
I'm going to say that's 7, Paul. It's crazy already. It's only 3 deep.
Oh, cars moving around. Rahal moved over on Kanan, pushed him out, but
Sato gets through in front throw. He's in one of the many blue and white cars. Takuma Sato leads. Tony Kanaan has jumped through to second, and they're still jockeying for position mid-pack.
Well, I'm amazed we got through that first corner. They were fanned out 8, 9 wide, so they're still 3 wide.
This is where it gets tricky. Wow, look at that. 3 wide through turn 2, the kink.
Newgarden on the move, just went by one of the Ganassi cars. I think it was Dixon. So Dixon struggling. Castro Neves up 10 positions. Is that even real?
I guess so. He probably followed Newgarden, or maybe it was the other way around.
Elio from 20th to 10th in 1 lap. Look at Scott Dixon back there. He's going to the inside, side by side with Castro Neves.
Ooh, Castro Neves had to check up big time. He got up into that light gray area of the track. Not much grip up there early. He's just back to life now, finding the momentum, and here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay.
That's where he lost it last year, Castro Neves. He got up a little bit high, and that car got away, and he crashed out early as Ryan Hunter-Reay backs out of that. He's being careful right now. He's got to get his legs under him.
That didn't look super careful to me, Paul. Here he comes, looking up the inside of 3. He said it'd take 15 laps to get his confidence back. Try 1.5.
Heavy crash in qualifying yesterday. He did get a lap just to simply check the systems today, but really back in the car for the first time, and Hunter-Reay trying to be on the move for the 2nd year in a row from the back.
And this is one of the things that Takuma Sato was somewhat concerned about. Obviously, fast pole position in qualifying that says, I think we have a bit too much downforce. You can see that Charlie Kimball towing up from behind because of that downforce. This they can change in a pit stop, but right now, Sato going backwards, too heavy on the car.
And the problem for Sato is each position he loses, he also loses momentum at the corner exit, and it's a snowball effect. It's really hard to maintain position when you're getting past like that late into the corner.
Newgarden on board here. He is up to 7th, so he's come from the back of the field and passed a ton of cars, so he's made a lot of go. Castro Neves has faded back a couple positions now. But look at this, Kanaan right here. We got a new leader in Rossi, but Kanaan is fighting his way back.
You saw it in nonstop with Alexander Rossi taking the lead on lap 12 on Tony Kanaan, Katie.
Just saw him take over the number 10 car, and just before he climbed in, he told me he feels like today is his best chance to win all season. That's because he feels like he has the exact same car as he did last year. That meant he could lead when he wanted to, he could follow when he wanted to, and it just so happened to be the exact same car that Ryan Hunter-Reay was running, and we saw him work his way up through the field twice. Anders?
And Katie, Tony Kanaan is super happy with his car. I spoke to him before the race. He said we're just making minor tweaks to it. But here's a crazy fact for you. Tony Kanaan has won at so many crazy super speedways around this planet of ours, and somehow has only finished 9th here at Pocono Raceway. He wants to change that today. He needs a win. Jan?
And for Will Power, who runs right behind those front 2, he's very happy with his car. He likes where he is, but he has radioed, I have a little bit of push. That's not uncommon. When you're 3rd car in line, you lose some air. That's obviously something that can easily be fixed at Will Power's first pit stop.
We talked coming into this race about the advantage Honda has on the super speedways.
Gutierrez has a problem. He just pulled to the inside. He was running inside the top 10. He's 11th now, but he pulled down low. Looks like he might have a problem.
There is Gutierrez. You saw it, Paul.
Yeah, he pulled down to the inside. I don't know if he got a broken back wing. He's definitely way off the pace now.
The rear wheel guard is broken, and we need to check the suspension.
I can see that rear wing back here is broken in that back corner.
Oh, yeah.
I could see the wing flapping around. See it fall down right there?
That's the voice of Craig Hampson, his race engineer, saying we need to check the car. So not sure if there was contact, if he got up high into the wall. If they said they need to check the suspension as well. perhaps Gutierrez had contact. Yellow's out.
Now we were back under green with Alexander Rossi leading. Kevin?
But look at Tony Kanaan come to the outside. 3 wide coming into turn number 1. Rossi on the bottom, Power in the middle, and Kanaan from 3rd to 1st for the lead.
Tony Kanaan is really strong today. You just get the feeling he will not be denied on that restart. He wanted it, Paul.
Big run by Kanaan, but look at Hinchcliffe. He made a move down the inside of Graham Rahal, 3 wide. That's a tough one to pull off on cold tires, and look at him sawing at that wheel.
Also of note, 2 that were contending early from Ganassi, Max Chilton and Charlie Kimball, had issues. They were running in the top 6. They're at the back. We'll get to their story coming up in a moment, but the racing up front is fierce right now.
Well, you've heard the term liquid courage. This is rubber courage, fresh tires for all these guys, and that allows you to take big, bold moves on parts of the racetrack you just can't use on old tires. And look at this, Rossi. Coming back on Hinch.
Coming back on Hinch. Hinch made a really big restart, but these guys, whoa, these guys are getting tight. Looks like Texas all over again.
Oh boy. Hinchcliffe not giving it up.
Some momentum from the high side.
Look at Rahal coming now. He's going to have a chance at Rossi from behind.
Oh, he's going to pop out here and make a move.
Rahal in the red car.
Rossi protects. That's a tight pass to pull off. He protected, faded the inside, but Rahal slides it through. Rossi going backwards.
Big development off sequence. Jan Will Power is rolling down the pit lane.
Yes, first there was a radio report saying that he might have a tire going down, but then there was a response that he might have a broken front wing. So we're checking the front wing, and they're going to change it. So it could be both, but they're making sure that they get this done. Now, on a super speedway, this front wing has a tether. They'll have to reach inside. That's for safety purposes. It makes the stop that much longer. And there's waving in the back, potentially a problem with a wheel gun. Wow, the cars are streaming by the front straightaway. This is not obviously going to help Will Power's situation at all.
I think they might have left something in the nose of his car. It looks like the T-handle, or there's a tether on the nose and the wing change.
Yeah, Kanaan just blowing by him. He's obviously got a problem, so we don't know if it was a wing or a tire, but man, that was a really, really unorganized stop. Not what you normally see out of Penske. They couldn't get the front wing off. They were struggling to get that away. The wheel gun in the rear had a problem, so it put him a lap down. I would have thought they could have maybe hung on there.
Well, also the right rear tire changer was yanking on the wheel pod, the rear wing pod, saying it was loose, like suggesting there was an issue with the back. So big trouble for Power. Kanaan gets passed by Pocono. And again, I'll point to that excessive vibration on the Penske Chevys. The front wings vibrating a lot.
Well, while this all happened, we have Dixon now back to the lead, and Rossi here fending off Hinchcliffe and the other Ganassi car. So Dixon has slid back into the lead, and Pagenaud has moved forward.
He's going to need some luck here. Hopefully get the field to pit under green, get your lap back, and then catch a yellow to then pit on the lead lap. Will Power, as he runs right now, would fall to 6th in the championship, with Alexander Rossi just 13 points behind in 7th as they run right now.
Well, we've had a ton of lead passes up front. Like I said, Dixon is now back out front again. Hinchcliffe and Rossi were battling for second. Rossi has taken over second position, so we'll see. We're coming up pretty close to, here we go. We got as a signal, I'm coming in next lap. So we'll see how many laps Rossi can do versus the last time it was 2.
I can't believe that statistic. 298 passes. Somebody just peeled off and came to pit lane. That's Scott Dixon.
The leader is in, and he has to get on it to get down to 60 miles per hour. So Rossi takes over the lead. Dixon makes stop number 3 on.
Yes, and as we predicted, it's going to take a while for him to get back into sequence, especially if Scott Dixon has been leading. He is still within the pit window, which should not be a problem. Again, we don't see any changes. Wow, 6.1 seconds for Scott Dixon. That's fast. We'll have to see how the other cars respond.
Well, we'll see how many laps Rossi and Hinchcliffe go.
What a race we have here at Pocono as we go past the midpoint, and James Hinchcliffe trying to hang on, and somehow he does not hit the wall.
How did he not hit the wall? He was completely sideways. He got passed by the Foyt car, got up in the gray, and was sideways like a dirt car all the way around the corner at 190 miles an hour.
Whoa, and somebody else is sideways down low. I think that was Will Power. Almost lost it with Takuma Sato. The wild thing to the high side. 2 incredible IndyCar saves. I've never seen that in my life. Hinchcliffe with the save of the century, and then Will Power follows it up.
Look at this guy right here. During the break, he took the lead yesterday afternoon, 24 hours ago, took a 138G hit in a qualifying crash. Townsend, that's like take the hit you took when you bought that Porsche a couple weeks ago.
Listen, you told me sometimes a little bit of personal pain or struggle, you end up having your best race. Why is that?
Well, I think his expectations were, hey, I don't have a chance of winning. I just got to get out there. Your expectation level comes down. You're not so wound up and uptight. But, man, this guy is driving the wheels off this car.
Look at this.
20
started on the back row. To the lead, he went third to first during that last break. You saw it on nonstop, and Ryan Hunter-Reay leads his teammate Alexander Rossi.
All right, here they come. The 3 leaders, 3 Hondas coming in.
After 3 consecutive stops of no changes for Alexander Rossi, they're actually, and it's a yellow out on the track in turn 1. That's that's Sebastian Saavedra, Kevin.
Saavedra has stepped into the car for Michaela Lotion this weekend and next, and who is in the pit lane, and that is going to be noteworthy. Hunter-Reay is going to beat out Graham Rahal, and then that is Tony Kanaan, I think, in the blue and white car. And that's Alexander Rossi. So all of those 3 will jump Rossi under this yellow. Let's go back again to see what happened to Sebastian Saavedra.
Very similar to his teammate, James Hinchcliffe, gets high into the gray and pretty heavy impact. Saved it once, and then it hooked back into the wall, and the right rear walloped as we get another angle on board. Same deal as Hinchcliffe.
He just got high. Car coming out of the pits. Munoz coming out of the pits. He got in high, got in the gray, and the front end was gone, so he was just a passenger. As we see right here, the right rear guy had a problem. The tire took off on him, so he had to go chasing after it. That would be a penalty if it got away from the box. But wow, what a disaster of a stop there for the Andretti guys.
Back at it at Pocono Raceway. Ryan Hunter-Reay leading Graham Rahal, Tony Kanaan, Scott Dixon, and Alexander Rossi. Rahal pops to the bottom in that red car, trying to challenge Hunter-Reay for the lead as they head to turn 1, and then popping to the outside. That's Tony Kanaan.
Marco Andretti having a look up the inside. No, that's Scott Dixon further back in the blue and white car. He looked at Hunter-Reay and then wisely backed out.
4th to 1st. He's not concerned about this fuel mileage and how many laps. He made the outside move, but it looked like Rahal was all over the back of Hunter-Reay coming up to the green, but Dixon timed that with perfection. But look at Rahal coming back.
It's the second time that Tony Kanaan has gone from 3rd to 1st on a restart, but he might not lead the lap because Graham Rahal goes back underneath him. Well, we gave the shout out to A.J. Foyt. His cars were doing pretty well, worked out well with the timing. Oh, yellow, and a big crash. It's Hinchcliffe, and it's J.R. Hildebrand.
You okay, bud?
It is Hildebrand. Hildebrand and Hinchcliffe into the wall hard.
Yeah.
We heard one affirmative.
I'm fucking sorry, guys.
Apologies after the major impacts.
Small fire there coming out of James Hinchcliffe's cars. Both of these cars really tore up on the right side or the left side of both cars. So looks like they probably made contact and did both a half spin.
Take a look at what happens here. Hinchcliffe on the inside, down low on Hildebrand.
Kind of just a racing deal. One guy was coming down, the other guy was coming up just a little bit. They barely touched, and both of them in the wall. Hinchcliffe square on the back attenuator.
Hinchcliffe had a little bit of space to the yellow line, but probably didn't want to get too close to the apron. Meanwhile, Hildebrand doesn't really want to run too high because, as we've seen already, if you get up in that gray, you won't finish the corner. So let's watch on board with Hinch here.
Oh, hard hit. That was just really one of those racing deals. It was a pretty late attempt by Hinchcliffe to kind of put it in there that late. He was only at his back wheel. You know, Hildebrand was going for the line. You don't want to get too high and get in the gray, and Hinchcliffe was kind of just stuffing it in there really late.
Kanaan, Hunter-Reay, Rossi, and then Dixon in 5th have all led a lot of laps. Simon Pagenaud in 6th, back up through the gears. Still a lot of racing to go, and here we go again from Pocono.
Oh, a lot of defensive driving going on. Look at Hunter-Reay. Graham Rahal shoving it up the inside.
Rahal going for the lead. Hunter-Reay trying to come with him, and Rahal is in front.
Rahal really strong restart. He takes the lead. We'll see how long he wants to hang on to it. But these guys, like I said, it's going to get real racy from here out. We've still got a long way to go, but you can see there's more urgency in these guys now.
Kanaan trying to come back.
I think he will.
Problem is you get bogged down right there in the middle of the corner, and Hunter-Reay will have a nice run now coming off the corner on Rahal. Rossi now has recovered after that stop. He's now in fourth, right behind his teammate. Ready to pop out right here. There he goes.
Oh boy, Rossi to the inside. Waited till the last second. Nice move from Alexander Rossi. Hunter-Reay goes back to fourth. And now, here comes Scott Dixon.
Dixon pops to the inside, and he will get that position. That is for fourth.
You can see these guys now, Townsend, they're making more aggressive passes. They're doing it later into the corner, waiting till the last second to pop out. And guys are not wanting to back off.
Graham Rahal taking the lead there on the back straightaway. Graham Rahal, this is the best 500-mile race he's had.
Got a car in the pit lane. I don't know if that's Dixon.
It is Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon rolling down the pit lane, so he's the first of the leaders to come in, Jan.
Yes, and of course, remember, there's that 4-lap deficit that he has. Now, of course, he's well within the window now. All that caution period, it's not going to be a problem with getting him to the end. He'll just be stopping before the others. 7.7 seconds. I saw no visible changes for Wing, but of course, they can do a little bit of tire pressure.
Scott Dixon will be a good spot. Remember how he had an advantage doing that earlier in the race as Graham Rahal goes back to the front.
I think it's been an advantage for him to pit early. He's had a clear pit lane. He can concentrate on getting in the pit, braking late, not sliding into the speed limit zone, and not having traffic around. So that has clearly been an advantage for him. So after this shakes out, as we see Sato coming, let's see if he can retain the lead again.
And here are some of the leaders. Graham Rahal and Tony Kanaan are coming in. For the moment, Ryan Hunter-Reay is in front, Anders.
And Tony Kanaan is just going to add one other half of front wing here. He's super happy with the car, and he feels like the car has really come to him as the temperatures have cooled down out here at Pocono Raceway. He couldn't be happier, Katie.
Simon Pagenaud has worked his way to the front, but he doesn't feel like he has the speed to lead. No changes for him on this stop, Jan.
And for Graham Rahal, as you can see, side-by-side action, Graham lost a little bit of time. That was 9.3 seconds. One of the tires seemed like it took longer than the fuel, and he paid the price as far as track position.
Hunter-Reay still is the leader. He's yet to make his next to last pit stop. And Will Power has cycled up to second. Ed Jones third, Alexander Rossi in fourth.
So these are your effective leaders of the guys who have pitted. So here's the leader, Hunter-Reay, in now.
What an incredible day for Ryan Hunter-Reay as he comes down pit lane. We'll watch him and wait for him to pull into his pit box. He is going to go for an adjustment on both his front wing and his rear wing. This is crucial for Ryan Hunter-Reay. As you see Tony Kanaan going back to the lead, and Ryan Hunter-Reay is down and away.
Super clean stop with wing adjustments, 7.7, so that was nice and clean.
Now here comes the good action, the blend. Ryan Hunter-Reay, what a stop that was. He's going to cycle up. He's not up to speed. The field's at 220 miles an hour on the front straight. They'll catch him at the exit of one, but I think he might hold the lead.
Here comes Kanaan. Here comes Rahal behind him.
Look at Hunter-Reay go low. He's defending. He's saying, you can pass me on the inside or outside. It looks like the inside. Scott Dixon goes by.
It's Dixon who got around, and now Rossi is in, Katie.
And he has fallen back during the middle of that stint. The car was sliding around a lot. They made a change on that last stop that just didn't work for Alex, and they went back on that adjustment.
Will Power has overcome significant adversity in this race. He was running a lap down, then running on the lead lap at the back, but now he is at the front, and look at that advantage. It's gone back and forth for the lead all day in this 500-mile IndyCar race at Pocono, but Power leads Scott Dixon by 4.2 seconds. What's the rest of the pack thinking after they've been working at it all day? Here's another pass for position as Alexander Rossi goes below Scott Dixon for second, and then they watch how far Power is in front.
Well, he's been able to maintain a 4.2 second lead this lap as he passes over the line. 213.3 miles an hour, but Rossi 215, then 211 for Dixon. So we'll just see if they can slightly creep up on these guys and work their way back. But time's running out. We got not a lot of laps left, and they got a big gap to cut down.
The leader, Will Power, taking his final stop.
This will be very interesting because, you know, Will Power was here not that long ago. He wants to protect himself, get some new tires, make a slight change on the wing, but this should not need all the fuel for certain. This should be very, very quick. There's that little bit of wing change.
He's in the window, Jan, so he's got to protect himself in case of the yellow, because if he got caught a yellow, he'd go to the back of the field again, and it's too late for that.
Scott Dixon is passing the start-finish line right now for the effective lead of this race. Power well in front. Dixon has a lap more warmth on the Firestones, but I don't think he has anything for Will Power right now as we see Simon Pagenaud head down the pit lane. So Pagenaud will make his final stop. Rossi is the leader right now, followed by Kanaan, Newgarden, Hunter-Reay, and Castroneves. They and many others still need to make their final pit stop. The effective leader is right now in 12th, and that's Will Power. Marco Andretti was hoping something might work his way there.
He's going to cycle out probably around 8th or 9th, maybe 10th. I mean, that was 7 seconds to take fuel only.
Could have put tires on, and the fuel guy had trouble getting it in, so you almost could have taken tires. So he's going to end up at the tail end of this line. But right now, Power still hanging on to that advantage, but it is closing ever so slightly every lap.
So Will Power back to the front after Andretti pits, but look at Joseph Newgarden charging. Newgarden is within about 7 or 8 car lengths.
And Will Power has had no company for the last 25 laps. And remember what we said earlier, I think you want to be in second place for the last lap. And now Newgarden is well within the draft of Will Power.
Yes, and what is so interesting is Will Power made his way to the front by having some extra downforce. He's been calling on the radio, I need to trim out, I need to trim out. Interestingly, Joseph Newgarden, who is behind him, has been struggling with too little downforce during the race, and they got to the point where they couldn't add any more. Now we get to the end. He's got some clear air. You've got 2 Penske cars with different downforce levels, and I think Joseph Newgarden might have just what he wants.
I think Alexander Rossi, the closer we get to the finish, the stronger Rossi car gets at the end of the tire stint. I like where Rossi sits too in this shootout for the end.
Well, he's right there. He's definitely going to make a move here. He's been making late moves. Got a little bit of a fade job by Newgarden there, but they have now closed the gap to Will Power. So we got a 3-car fight in the final 9 laps to go. They've gapped the rest of the field.
We've had 10 different leaders, a record 43 lead changes here at Pocono, and there might be another one coming. Will Power looked like he was in control, but Joseph Newgarden is within range, and Alexander Rossi is also in striking distance. The 26-year-old from Tennessee came into this weekend as the championship leader. As they run, he is once again the championship leader by 18 over Scott Dixon. But this, despite there only being 7 laps to go, is far from done. And Power comes down to the bottom line, opening up to the top side for Newgarden. Not this time, but Newgarden is right there. And here comes Alexander Rossi.
I'll bet Joseph Newgarden didn't see that coming. And remember, at Mid-Ohio, it was Newgarden who put an unexpected move on Will Power for the win there. I thought Power had a problem, but he was just anticipating a run from Newgarden and took the option away.
That's a last lap break the draft at Indianapolis type move with 6 to go. So there's now, they are fighting like it's the last lap.
That was a pretty crafty piece of driving. I don't think anybody, Newgarden, Rossi, or Kanaan would have expected that. Watch this.
Here comes Newgarden again. Power stays down low to defend. Newgarden tries to go.
Smart though, he's saying, Will Power is saying, if you want to pass me, you're going to have to go to the outside of turn 3, and that is a tricky and treacherous move if you brave it.
And he gapped him too, so if he can force Joseph Newgarden to take him on the outside of 3, when you get this late in the race, you're going to delay your turn in and hang that guy out in the gray.
Now what does Joseph Newgarden do? That was the move he was working on. He has to completely recalibrate and figure out where's it going to come from? How do I get by my teammate?
You think Will Power watched that pass over and over at Mid-Ohio? He knows what the move's going to be.
Left, right.
Teammates, 1 and 2 for Team Penske. He's won 9 IndyCar races here. Michael Andretti and his team has been the master of the 500-mile races. Alexander Rossi has not won this season in his second season after winning the Indianapolis 500 as a rookie. On board with Newgarden, running in second. That's Rossi right behind him.
Tell you what, Rossi's got to make a move here pretty soon. I can't leave it to the last lap. We've got 4 to go, coming to 3 to go. So Rossi's got to try to get closer and get around Newgarden if he's got a chance. 2 young American superstars running second and third. Newgarden, the championship leader, coming in, chasing his teammate, the former champion, Will Power. Rossi's got a little bit of a run here.
Okay, watch this. Newgarden's reset a bit on his approach. Now Rossi has a little run down the front straightaway. What does Newgarden do to defend?
I think this is all a waiting game to the last lap. I think Newgarden's kind of backed off right now. He knows that he's got to make it happen on the last lap. So I think he might be content to let Power lead right now and just try it on the last lap.
Pagano just got around Kanaan for 4th. Let's see if he can chase down the front 3 and play as well.
You know, I said that you don't want to be leading on the last lap. I'm having some hesitations after watching Power's move here to just take the option away. There he goes again, inside, back outside.
Last lap, 2:14, 2:14, 2:14 for the top 3 guys. They're all running the same pace, but I like that move by Power. He's making sure that he has the last corner protected.
After no one could keep anyone behind them all race long. This is masterful work by Will Power. All fair. He's not reacting. He is doing it. He's making the first move, so no issue there with what Will Power is doing.
He's definitely
Here comes Newgarden again.
He's definitely breaking the draft. Newgarden pulls a tear off. He's got a clean visor, and he's close right now.
He's close, but watch this. Power will do the same thing unless Newgarden can get there first. Power to the inside. He defends over the yellow line. Back up high. Joseph Newgarden must be so frustrated with this very clever defensive move.
Power won here last year. As we come to the white flag, Joseph Newgarden trying to make it 3 wins in a row this season. Alexander Rossi is still there, and Pagano is within range back and forth. Through turn 1.
Pagano at a 2:16. He's closed that gap. I don't think he's got a shot, but he might get Rossi. But this is going to be the key corner right here as we come to turn 3.
Newgarden is within range. Does he have a run for Will Power? Power comes down low to defend. Rossi thinking about the high side. Newgarden going high, trying to go over under. Can he get it done? Back on the main straightaway. Will Power is going to go back to back to win at Pocono and get back in the championship mix.
Oh, man. Yes!
Well, I think you were somewhat catching your breath there. First thing you said on the radio was, what a race. I've got to ask you about the finish and that move you were making. You knew that Joseph Newgarden had speed. Had you studied that in advance?
No, I just knew if he got up the inside, that would be it. So I was very, very conscious of protecting the inside there. Yeah, he was very fast at the end. We kind of had to add a lot of downforce because we went to the back and went a lap down, so you had to try to get it good in traffic. But oh man, what a day, what a day. Got to thank Verizon, Chevy, obviously. Chevy engine is very, very quick, and man, I'm spent. That was a seriously dramatic day. It was a lot of fun.
I can tell you have that sort of fatigue that's setting in, but at the same time you've got all this joy because truly, when you talk about that trouble, you were a lap down. You had damage on the front, you had damage on the rear. You must have been thinking, well, this is definitely not going to be our day.
I did not. I thought, like, just hang in here, just hang in here. Like, you know, I saw Hunter Ray got his lap back last year and got all the way back to 3rd. And then I was very cautious on those restarts, just pick people off one by one and just be smart. You can never give up in IndyCar because you don't know what can happen. So got a lap back and made it to the front.
Now, you joked with me when I saw you after Toronto when things did not go well. We were going through the airport, and you had a plan. You said, yeah, I can win out. I can win this championship, and it's happening.
Yeah, I remember I told you it'd be like second, first, second, or something like this. Yeah, well, just got to keep pushing. Never give up. Never give up. That's what you always got to remember in this game.
You ever want to see an example of how much mental energy goes into a 500-mile race? You can just see that Will Power is spent, even this kind of joy, just like, wow, what a relief.